Hello.
Hey Blake.
Sorry, it opened Steam on my laptop, and I was like, "What the heck is going on right now?" I thought that you were opening Steam. Yeah,
No, no, no. Steam is something for gamers, right?
it is. Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah,
surprised because I
that's a
don't
real
use it.
boomer statement of me. Sorry.
No,
I
well,
don't
I mean,
play
it is, but
games.
I haven't ever had Steam. So I was like, "Wait, why is it opening?" But it's a laptop that my buddy gave me that I'm using. So yeah,
No problem. How's life?
it's going well. I saw you guys just moved. How's Spain?
It's real nice so far. Things are a little bit somber right now because there was that big tragedy last week, and we're
Hmm.
quite close to it. It's about 50 miles up the road from where we're living,
Okay.
where all the bad stuff happened. We were very lucky to escape completely unaffected by it, but
Hmm.
it's you know understandably, the mood is a little more somber than usual right
Hmm.
now. But I think things will return to some level of normality for most people within the next 2, 3 months. People here are like very cheerful
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
by nature. So like I
Hmm.
think everyone's just being sort of everyone's to some level affected because people got friends, they got family members, and then even the people who are not directly affected are being respectful of um,
Hmm.
of the people who have been, because a lot of people died and a lot of damage has been done. But I think people will kind of pull back and things will come good in about. I think by the beginning of next year, people will be in a better place, like emotionally here.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope that that area bounces back quickly. It's actually I'm jealous of you for being in Spain. My mom's side of the family is from Spain,
Oh,
and I've
cool.
never been. And then the other side's Irish. So
Hmm. Do you know
yeah.
how many generations back they go? Like, do you have cousins or any connections here still with the Spanish side?
Um, I want to think from my grandma's side, she had something crazy like 13 siblings because they're Spanish Catholic, like way back. So
Okay.
she had like 13 siblings or something crazy. I want to think that there are still some out there, but I'm
Hmm.
not certain. I know for a fact when I did my DNA test that like we do have family in Cork, I want to think in Ireland.
Yeah, not
I've
surprising.
never, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, McNamara is a west. I'm pretty sure it's mostly a west of Ireland name because the literal translation of McNamara means like son of the sea.
Yeah, it's like son of Connemara or something. Yeah.
Yeah, McNamara. Okay. Oh yeah, Mara is sea, but then it's Connemara is like the western province. So yeah, they
Yeah, yeah,
almost certainly.
yeah. Well, it's good to see you. I don't think we've talked in a couple of years. I think last time we spoke, I was still working at a machine shop and you were trying to help me get into real estate, like for copywriting.
Yes.
I think
God, that was
I
quite
think
some
that had
time
to be
ago.
like, yeah, I think it had to be like maybe 2-ish years ago. But
And at that time, you were like writing copy, what, part-time or just kind of dabbling and trying to get into it, or where were you? Did you have clients?
at that time, no. I think that I had done like I'd done some on the side work for like some healing guru, who inevitably didn't pay. But I think that was one of my first gigs,
Yes.
was for the big manifestation summit that he was putting on, and yeah, they couldn't manifest payment for a while, but
Well, did people show up? Did people buy tickets?
um, I was brought on like the last day, like it was somebody who like had decided like tomorrow we're having an event,
Oh
so
my God.
yeah, it was like my first gig ever. It was like tomorrow we're having an event and we need to sell tickets today. So I know with that particular person, I know that the first couple emails did good, but after that, I'm not really sure. The guy just went ghost. But yeah, at that point in the machine shop, I was just like calling into Stefan Georgi's show, like his podcast weekly,
Hmm.
just basically trying to ask as many questions as I could about copy to get confident in myself, I guess, in my ability to write it. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, that was a very interesting time.
It's good. Well, look, those early gigs, those crappy gigs, I think, I don't know how far along you are now, but like they're incredibly important because
Hmm.
that's where you learn all this stuff. Like that's basically where you learn about all the red flags about stuff you should avoid.
Yep.
which is
Yeah,
very
definitely.
important, very valuable
Hmm.
skill. Like, I had a conversation with somebody last week. He's a referral, seemed like a really nice person. This is for lead gen, but like he was
Hmm.
so much in need of leads today. Like, I was just like, man, I don't want to deal with this guy. Like,
Yeah.
he can afford
Yeah.
to pay. He wanted to pay. And I just felt like this guy's going to be breathing down my neck. It's like
Hmm.
I don't want to be somebody's Hail Mary, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. I think for a lot of like I think for a lot of people getting into copywriting, they don't understand that though, or at least I didn't. Like in the beginning, a lot of the leads that you're talking to are expecting you to like save what is a failing business.
Hmm.
I don't in the beginning I was going into that a lot with just the same mentality of a normal employee at a 9 to 5. Like even until pretty recently, that was still my mindset of it, even though that's not like the actual case with client work, but it was just so hard to break out of that. Um,
Yeah.
and I think for entrepreneurs in the beginning, they need to know, like, I think knowing that you're coming on to help as opposed to just be an employee and realizing like realizing the opportunity in front of you and not like overplaying it, not underplaying it, but just like seeing it for what it is like really important. Because anytime
Yeah.
that I've overplayed or underplayed it, like that doesn't it doesn't work.
Well, when you first get into copywriting, if you've like joined a course or as they bought a course or joined a program, a lot of people out there teaching it, inevitably they have to simplify things for beginners. And from the
Mhm.
purpose of their own marketing, they have to, they have to, do the whole like sort of delete all the complicated and annoying bits and just emphasize like the really nice bits and
Mhm.
make it all seem like this is going to be pretty easy, it's going to be okay. And that's good that they do that because they have to do it like that.
Yeah.
If you knew what it's going to be involved in actually making a go of it, you probably wouldn't get started because it'd be just like, oh, this looks like a massive pain in the ass if they were totally honest with you.
Yeah.
But you come in with like this Harry Potter type like magic words thing where you think I
Hmm.
can just write some good copy and it's gonna all be good. And it's like, no, no, it's not going to be
Yeah.
all good. If they've
Hmm.
got a good business and you write some good copy, it's going to really help them a lot.
Hmm.
But if their business really fucking sucks already, you
Yeah.
probably you may be able to get some wins for them, but like long term, you're probably not going to help them do much.
It also doesn't feel good. Like the times where I have sold something that I knew like was iffy as a
Yeah.
product, like early on when I really needed the money, I would just say yes to anything and like didn't worry, like just whatever the boss said about the product is probably true and I just wouldn't second guess anything. But
Mm-hmm.
I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry.
No, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, yes, sometimes there's crappy products out there, and you have to just kind of hold your nose and write the copy like this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's also stuff where it's like they might actually have a decent product or a decent service, but they're just disorganized, or they've got a bunch of chaos going on in their life, or they might have and there's things you don't know about. Like they could have like 5 years of unpaid taxes, and they've got like
Yeah.
they're going to jail in 90 days if they don't get their
Hmm.
shit
Yeah.
together. And they might have a really good product and a good business, and they might be a really lovely person, but for one reason or another, or they're going through some sort of horrific divorce, or
Yeah. Yeah.
some shit's going on in their life, like they've got a sick kid, a sick parent, you just don't know. That's like
Yeah.
preventing them from being able to do a good job. But
Hmm.
it's like if you are their Hail Mary, it's not gonna be you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like every single time. That's a gig where it's gonna be your hours are gonna be 1.5 plus time whatever you thought they were gonna be,
Yeah.
at least. Um, yeah, but like you said, those I think those lessons are important to learn. Like, especially for me, like I'm very hard-headed. Like people can tell me things a lot, and I'm still, I don't know, for whatever reason, I have to see it like in person. So,
Hmm.
I think for me, like having to learn those things on the spot has been helpful because uh, I don't learn another way. But I think if you are someone listening to it who knows that you're going into a new client relationship and maybe you haven't seen it as you being like more than an employee in that business, um, think about that. I would say think about what that would look like for you before you sign any paperwork. because you're locked in at that point.
Yeah. Well, the other side is like when your client actually has like a a good business, and it doesn't even have to be an amazing business, just a business where like they're a good salesperson. They
Yeah.
have a team. I've got a decent team around them of people who make an effort at their work. Again, don't have to be
Hmm.
amazing, just make an effort at their work and show up every day. And
Hmm.
there's somebody who's got like generally, a cheerful perspective on life. They've got a family, they've got some friends, your client. So nobody's got a perfect life, but they're pretty happy in themselves as a person because they got people around them who care about them. It's
Hmm.
like it's so much easier. It's so much easier. So much easier. Like
Hmm.
all you have to do is turn in some decent work and they'll be really happy with you. But for like
Yeah.
that client who's like really in the struggle, like you could do the best work of your life and they're still gonna be like, oh, we need to get some more sales.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not so
Yeah.
happy with this. Can you could you
Yep.
could you make the logo bigger?
Yeah. Just rewrites and just small button changes on websites and yeah.
So it's like that's the biggest red flag now. It's like do they seem like an unhappy person? And if
Hmm.
they are, God bless them. I wish them all the
Hmm.
best, but I just can't be there for them.
Hmm. Yeah. That's actually got me like a lot farther than a lot of like direct instruction I've had was just, I mean, everybody's heard it, but just like showing up with a good attitude. Like especially early on when I was applying to gigs, I probably got like 3 or 4 gigs in a row where I was told like basically like you're not qualified, but you have a good attitude, we're willing to run in the beginning, like for real, that's literally how I got them was all, like just personality. I just like have two
Yeah,
coffees and go on a call, and that was pretty much it. Like there's yeah, it does go a long way. Like just having like decent energy.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, like think about I don't know about your offline experience. I mean, experience are different because the employers are like constrained geographically with who they can hire
Hmm.
to whoever lives in the
Yeah.
town that they've got their business in.
Yeah.
So they'll often hold their nose and like you go in any company going to brick and mortar, there's always one person who's like a total asshole to everybody. And you
Yeah.
wonder how the hell have they kept the job, but they have some sort of skill that the business needs. And there's nobody
Yeah.
else around who
Yep.
has that skill. So they're going to keep their job, even if they make everyone around them miserable. Like online,
Hmm.
it's not that way. It's like 80% of if you just like are a good person to be around and you make people feel at ease, you're
Yeah.
going to be hired. You're going to get work. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you can't be competent. I'm not trying to say like just show up. Obviously, you're trying to be better. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's
It
so
circles
simple.
back
It's
kind of
it's it's so
yeah.
simple.
It circles back kind of to what you had been, I'd seen you posting recently about just kind of how like the whole introvert idea is just like not real, like more or less, or like an unhelpful construct almost.
Yeah,
Um, and like for so long, I just thought that that was my personality. Like, and then I went to several months back, I went to a live event and they had like everybody go around after the first day and say like their first impressions of whatever person in the group. And there were probably like 6 or 7 people in the group, and everybody, like to a fault, said that I was the most outgoing. And like until 6 months ago, I was like, no, I'm an introvert. Like I don't like talking to people. Like I'm an introvert. And then that was the first time, like in my life, where I was like, maybe that's not real. Like if everybody
yeah,
else is seeing it a different way, maybe I'm the crazy one at that point. Um, but
yeah.
yeah,
It's
like
like
that,
more and more people are introverts now. It's like, no, you just spend too much time alone. No, you just
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's definitely true for me. I spend an obscene amount of time like alone, just like whether that's just on the internet, just on computer, just marketing, whatever. Like I'm in front of the screen most of the time,
hmm
so I can see like how that fed into me thinking I had that proclivity, if that's like the right word, like
Yeah,
just that bend towards that. But it's really not. I think it's really probably like not the case for most people. Like you said, it's just too much time on the screen. Like whatever is innate there that could be used is not being used because it's being put in the computer.
yeah. You can have tendencies. But I mean, the more you expose yourself to being around people, the more social you tend to become. Now, are there times when it's just like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to him today. I just want to sit home and read a book. Yeah, absolutely. But you know,
Mhm,
also I got a family, I got kids.
mhm.
The
Yeah.
kids don't allow you to be an introvert. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
daddy, you're here. Like, notice us.
Yeah.
Like, talk to us. Like, there's definitely
That's like
difference in
growing up.
temperament.
My family has 6 kids, and there are so many times where my dad would just be like, "Just nobody say dad." Like for the next 10, just nobody say that word. Like, and
Daddy,
yeah,
daddy, daddy,
yeah,
daddy, daddy, daddy,
yeah.
daddy.
I mean, yeah. When you had at one point like 7 people in the house saying it, like it's a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I've only got three people who call me daddy, so that's okay. And a dog who just barks, daddy, bark, 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 as well.
Didn't you
But
guys just get a
it's
new one?
no, we've had the same dog for the last 3 years.
Okay.
She's she's asleep on the couch behind my laptop right now. Um, yeah, it's so that whole thing about introversion. I don't really believe it. What do I want to talk to? I wanted to say something about the whole thing. Oh, like yeah, just you can't be an introvert when you have a family, and
Hmm.
like there are tendencies for sure. Like
Hmm.
when my daughter and my wife are at home, like they are chatting nonstop, and like they want
Hmm.
to chat nonstop. Whereas like if they go out, my wife and daughter go out and do something together, the two of them, and they leave me and my son alone, we will just sit around and he'll be on his iPad on books. We'll be in the
Hmm.
same room and we'll do
Hmm.
some talking, but like a lot of the time, like we can just happily sit there quietly or be driving in the car for ages and not chatting, just enjoying the drive.
Hmm.
And it's like it's not a problem for us. And I mean, there's definitely that's a thing between the sexes that's a difference, but it's also temperaments.
Yeah. Hmm. It's a lot of people that I've talked to who are in copywriting, like it seems to be, at least from the people that I talk to, a lot of copywriters believe that label about themselves.
Hmm.
Uh, like a lot, like really good people, like really good copywriters still. And I don't if it's kind of strange, but when I got into copywriting, I thought I was just going to learn writing. I didn't think I was going to have to address like my own labels about myself. I didn't think it was going to be a self-discovery as much as it like has been almost more than the writing, I would say.
Hmm.
Um, like even the trainings and like NHP Plus that Alan has, like teaching people how to like think through things. Um, those made a huge difference. Like just going through them. Like I went to college for counseling, and a lot of this stuff I was like, I can see where like there are parallels, but like people aren't saying like the thing like there's 2 roads, but they're not saying where the like crossing is. And I don't know. I'm thankful for the journey of copywriting that it was more than just writing.
Yeah, it's good. It's like figuring
Yeah.
out what pushes people's buttons is really interesting stuff, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, I've seen recently you've been going towards the like brick and mortar construction, if I'm correct.
I've been
Uh,
doing advertising more with offline businesses, and I've been working with a range of different things like tree trimmers, beauty salons, like injectables clinics, um,
hmm.
landscaping. I've done doing quite a lot of local business stuff the last few months, and it's been interesting. I like it. It's simpler in many ways. It's not as competitive as trying to write for like coaching offers. Like
Yeah.
there's a well understood deliverable, which
Hmm.
makes it so easy. Like somebody
Yeah.
if like Botox, like there's very, for example, the world of like beauty and stuff, the complexity there is like sometimes when they're trying to introduce a new product or there's a newer service, the brand is not
Hmm.
well understood. So people don't
Yeah.
know what it does, and you have to do a bit of explaining. But for the most part, it's like very trend driven. So like the buyers
Hmm.
in that market, like they know what they want already because they're paying attention
Hmm.
on they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they know what these things are. So really all you have to do is tell them, hey, we've got this thing at this price, at this location, and this is a time limited offer that ends on such and such a date. Like those absolute basic fundamentals work pretty damn well in most cases
Right.
because local business have a serviceable area. So it's so much easier
Hmm.
than something that's much more nebulous, like a coaching business where
Mhm.
It's online. There's effectively infinite choice, and the only way to make your thing stand out is to develop a target customer with a specific, set of
Mhm.
problems and a specific story about their life and themselves that can find you relatable.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Yeah.
there's a hybrid. One of my clients is a coach for local businesses, and
Mhm.
that's really interesting because he he has that story of like him being the dude who started out like just him in a truck, I think
Mhm.
himself, and building up to now where he's got like a big team, multi-million dollar a year business and all
Mhm.
that stuff. Um, but he's still active in the market he's selling to. But it's like
Mhm.
that self-identification. It's like the person who comes to him is like the person who's got two or three people and is relatively early stage. And they're seeing this
Mhm.
guy and he drives the right car. He drives the right car. He lives the right way. He travels all the time. And it's,
Mhm.
like the view of self-identification is easy. And
Yeah.
the avatar is very specific because he lives in a particular country. He's appealing to
Mhm.
his local market. But like for a lot of like very much online coaches, like online fitness coach, for example, like you're
Mhm.
really going to have to lead much more into the psychographic factors and demographic factors to be able to make that story connect. There's
Yeah.
got to be, well, if it's pure direct response, it has to be a good unique mechanism. But if it's going to be more like personality and personal brand story driven, they better have a story that connects with a decent sized chunk of people.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I've written for a few offers in like those health niches, like health coaching, and there were a few of them, like the ones that are doing better that we're scaling, um, were definitely for like far more niche down. Like it would be like we're doing workout plans only for nurses who work night shift or something. And like it had to be like that specific for that, like for the ad to like be scalable. Um, which is cool because when I got into copywriting, it felt like a lot of the copy that I wrote I could just hand off to different people. Like I know you're not like you're supposed to write like different copy for different people, but like just hypothetically, like largely the same pitch could work in a lot of cases in the past. And I do kind of like that we have to get more specific now. Like it's a little more fun for me
Hmm.
as far as angles go than to just write the same pitch over and over for coaching. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, the
the
brick and
people
mortar.
early
That's
on. Hmm?
for the brick and mortar. That is really cool though. That it's just like the base deliverables and just keep the offer clear.
Yeah, it's good. It's simple, and I like it. What's tricky is for me so far is just that the nature of those types of businesses that for the most part the clients have a kind of like they've got a cap on where they want to go and what they want to do, and so you hit that cap pretty quickly. And if you actually um, they don't necessarily want to grow their business, they don't want to increase their fulfillment, so
Hmm.
you tend to like you can really just grow by adding on more clients, and that means that you have to that sort of dictates the way business can go. So I'm
Hmm.
tweaking things now. I'm like exploring different directions to I don't want to work with 50 clients. Let me put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like a business that's relatively simple. You know,
Hmm.
maybe that's, one of my good friends would say it's because I'm lazy. A more charitable friend might say it's because I'm more lifestyle oriented. But
Hmm.
I'm not like, don't have the ambition to build a really big company and to be life. I don't know why. I just don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Like I'm a pretty
I'm with
simple
you on that.
person.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I was talking to can't remember if it was Matthew or someone else. I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago where it was basically like I don't past a certain point I don't care to really scale anything. Like if rent's paid, if I have steak every day, like everything's paid for, like I don't have a list of things I want to buy to be happy. Like it just for whatever reason I just don't. Like if I have steak, I'm good. Like
It gets a
so
bit more complicated when there's a family
yeah,
involved.
yeah,
But for
yeah,
now, that can be good.
yeah.
How did you get to the point where you quit the machine shop job and actually said, okay, I'm going all in now. I'm going to do this.
So I got a full-time client towards the end of the machine shop. So the machine shop was actually owned by some friends of the family. but they a few years ago decided to relocate to Texas because they were just getting bloodbath on I think taxes at that point, and I think they were also trying to. I think they were going to get shut down for COVID, like they weren't going to allow them to keep the shop open.
Hmm.
So they moved out of state. So in the span of like 4 months, I had to make something work. Um, can't really remember who. I know my first client was um, the coach that I had told you about, like the vegan coach. And then after that, I can't really remember who the first person that I wrote for full time was, but then probably the first year I was writing for Jay Shetty.
Oh yeah.
I had like I got a gig that like paid me enough to leave the first job, but not enough to make me feel comfortable there.
Yes.
But it gave me enough to be able to say yes to some opportunities, Jay being one of them, where it's like no matter what works out, like I need to just take this and see what happens. So I want to think it was within the first year to year and a half I was writing for Jay for a while.
Hmm.
Um, I
He's got
wrote
a
a majority.
massive personal brand, right?
Yeah, I wrote it through. He hired someone to run a launch for him, and she hired me to basically write all of it. So um,
Hmm.
that's basically what happened. It was like the first VSL that I actually ever wrote was for Jay, like the first, like, so that was kind of scary, but he's such a big name, like it did well. And
Yeah.
then after that, I um, ended up at a supplement place for a few months and just yeah, just back and forth. But I had worked in supplements for a while, and then I've just been in coaching for most of the products that I've written to have been either coaching or supplements.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's been cool. I worked at a couple of agencies that sorry, computer's acting up. I worked at a couple of agencies and that like trained me to be able to write for a lot of different offers and different niches. And I really needed that training because I was so in my head about like I don't know how to. I was in my head about not being able to come up with different angles every day for different things, and then that just forced me to have to do it. It's like you're writing
Yeah.
for 14 different offers, like do it or you're fired. So yeah, I spent
It's
some time,
great.
and yeah, that's basically what it taught me to do. So yeah, I got some really good training at some agencies. I've continued working with agencies since then, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's been weird. I got into copywriting only for email. And then it seems like a lot of the time, that's not what I'm doing. A lot of
But
the
that
time, it's
that's
like research or like just trying to find where something's broken in a funnel or, but yeah, but
these
it's
are
been
all really
good.
positive things. Like
Yeah.
just going with them backwards is like there was so many different programs and opportunities sold about like getting writing copy for any writing email copy. Loads of people have
Hmm.
done that route over the years, and maybe in the last couple of years, people like Ian Stanley, Troy Erickson, and all of and sold that offer. And
Yeah.
I mean, it made sense at the time because there was a huge upswell in demand. There's a huge boom in online business, and like
Hmm.
the claim was true. You could just write emails and make a pretty damn good living, better than you can do in most 9 to 5 jobs,
Hmm.
and that's great. But I think that's somewhat changed this year. At least, it's
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
not many people are willing to take on somebody who can just write emails. And
Hmm.
there was a time where people were like, "Oh, I just write the emails. I'm not going to actually like schedule them on your
Yeah.
ESP for you. No, you need somebody else for that. Like I just
Yeah.
write the email, which is
Yeah.
fine again, but like I think that time is done, and probably
Hmm.
for the best.
Yeah.
But and then it's like, where do you go? It's like if you can write an email, you can probably write an ad. You know, you might
Hmm.
not be able to write the best cold traffic ad ever, but like you can
Hmm.
write a good enough ad that can actually get some conversions, and then from that you can write more, and you can go
Hmm.
in. You can do all the other parts of copy and marketing from there. It's a really great
Hmm.
place to start. But I think people saying I'm an email copywriter is kind of limiting themselves in. Again, it's like painting themselves into a corner
Hmm.
where maybe I'm an email marketer or just I'm a marketer. It's
Yeah.
fine. Like that's pretty broad. You talked about writing for Jay Shetty. It's like
Hmm.
that's kind of the same thing I was talking about earlier. It's like And Colin Terrio, I think, do you know Colin Terrio from the Cult of Copy?
Yeah. Yeah.
He talks about
I
this a
don't
lot.
know him
Like
personally. I've been in his group forever, but yeah.
he often talks about the difference between persuasion and influence. And like this is it. That's like persuasion is like great copy. Influence is like having somebody who's super charismatic and well known to speak that
Hmm.
copy on camera. And it's like
Hmm.
ideally you have both, but if you only
Hmm.
had to choose one, you'd probably take influence, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's like who's a super charismatic speaker? Like you think of a super charismatic speaker, who's the first name that comes to mind?
I mean, one last night on the
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
so let's do it. Let's
yeah,
do it Trump. Like so
yeah.
every speech Trump gives at this point, like he's super polarizing. So people who love him. People who hate him, every word he
Mhm.
says is pure poison to them.
Mhm.
But like if you get somebody else to stand up on that stage and say the words he says, they're going to have no effect at all.
Yeah,
Like, I'll give a good example. Like Vivek Ramaswamy. Like,
yeah, yep.
yeah, I know he was one of the like the Republican candidates, and sure, he's actually like he's quite good at speaking.
Mhm.
But he's really you see it like he lays it on too thick. He tries to do Donald, and he just can't. He just
Yeah,
doesn't have that persona. He doesn't have the gravitas. He's not well known enough. So he tries on the Donald persona for size, and it doesn't fit him. It's
yep,
like a dude in a really baggy suit. He's just not ready
yep.
for us.
That's
And
how I've always felt about it's like the same thing in like the UFC. That's how I've always felt that's how I've always felt about like Colby Covington. Like it
okay.
seemed clear to me like he's imitating Connor. Like he saw
Oh
Connor get
yeah,
and it's like every time I see him, I'm like, he's just trying to do Connor. Like there's enough clips of Connor talking where Colby's in the background listening. I'm like, he's trying to steal the persona, but it's so clear it's not the same thing. Like I
yeah.
don't know.
Because Connor's
It's
got the
clear when it's an
Lamborghini
act
yacht
and
and
when it's a
Colby
personality.
doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Connor's like closing on being worth about $1 billion. And like
Yeah.
there's things that come with that. Like there's a certain level of the old Vince and Connor. Who does Connor say like before he got big, who he blew up? What did he do? Where did he get his persona from?
I don't remember where he took it. I know that he was big into manifestation, but who?
Vince McMahon, WWE.
Oh
He's
yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
Vince many times. He's like that dude, like he
Hmm.
said, the billionaire strut, that was Vince McMahon. Like he
Hmm.
just watched Vince
Yeah.
and he modeled that before he
Hmm.
actually had it. I mean, the difference I think between someone like Connor and maybe a Colby Covington is Connor like just got so bloody
Yeah.
successful, made so much money that it's like, oh shit, suddenly now the facts of his life match up to
Hmm.
this persona he's created, and
Yeah.
it became authentic then.
Hmm. Yeah. That's where I heard someone point out before that they said rap is like basically is just like WWE taunting. Like that's basically all rap is. And when I thought about it that way, I was like, yeah, that's basically all media personalities. Like they're just a WWE character who has a job that's like different. Like it's not WWE, but they are a WWE character, like for lack of a better like their personality wise, their behaviors, like um even like you said, if you take the same things Trump said and give them to Vivek, it's not the same. Like even in NHB, I remember Alan talking about how like we needed to listen to Trump to learn like his patterns of speech and see like he doesn't actually say all that much, but it's like it keeps people like listening the whole time. And I think that it's something that's not really addressed in writing copy. Like the thing that helped me a lot, I'm just going off on a tangent, I'm sorry. But one thing that helped me a lot with writing was doing audio recordings of it. Like I think for a lot of people, they're in their head like writing out word by word. But if you want your speech to be conversational, like the easiest way in my head is like actually say it like it's a conversation, like
Hmm.
say it out loud. Like I think a lot of people's copy would convert a lot better if they just did that. Like record the audio of yourself talking and use that. And I think a lot of times like the flow is what helps more than a lot of things. Like I've written on some pretty big accounts for pretty big people. That's honestly, I think the difference. Like when I look at things, a lot of times it's like, what was I writing that was more conversational? And it seems like more often than not, if it's a personality based, like That's the easiest way. Like just record yourself
Hmm.
on Otter or something and use that as your copy. Like um,
I think there's somebody who talked about this as like their workflow. I want to say it's Mike Pavlish, the dude
mhm,
down in Florida. I'm not sure if it is. It could be somebody else, but about like lying down on the couch with the basically turn on the voice recorder on their phone, sitting it down and lying down on the couch with their eyes closed and just talking about the subject they want to write about,
mhm,
recording everything, stick it on
mhm,
the computer, you use use the script or whatever, and to clean it all up and make a transcript of it, and then that's your first draft. And now it's time to edit it into something that can actually work on the
mhm.
page.
Yep. It's not that foreign either. Like if you watch Mad Men, like that's what they're doing. Like a lot of the time when they're when they're writing copy, it's just like Don will have like a microphone, like just talking into like. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who, and I'm not saying it's wrong, that will push like to get better at copy, like learn how to write faster. I think that though, just being able to speak better is like actually what, like that's the goal that you're going for. And I think just practicing actually speaking um, is gonna help a lot of people a lot more with their copy. Even Alan has said he writes that way, like he'll have the audio fed to himself so he can hear himself talking through it as
Hmm.
he's writing. Yeah.
Does I think both things feed into each other. Like spending more time writing gets you
Hmm.
better at arranging your thoughts, which helps
Hmm.
you to speak more clearly without all the ums and ahs and pauses and
Hmm.
tangents where you lose your place in the conversation.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
then that's one side of things. But then when you can get it there and you can organize your thoughts to be able to speak them out and then put them somewhere
Hmm.
will give you something with a more natural cadence that will probably
Hmm.
be easier to read. I mean, this is why the old copywriting advice about like read your copy out loud after you write it, because if it's hard
Hmm.
to say,
Yep.
it's going to be hard to read because we do sub-vocalization. Almost everybody does when they're like reading anything on the page. They're
Hmm.
they are actually vocalizing using their vocal cords just at a tiny. It's like at an inaudibly low level, but they are vocalizing it. Like the mental process kicks in. So you're doing that like physical movement between
Hmm.
brain and a part of your body via your nervous system when you're
Hmm.
reading. So
Yeah.
if it's awkwardly written, or if it's something that's awkward to say, it's going to be awkward to read.
Yes. Hmm. 100%.
And then you talked about working in agencies, and I agree with you. If I had started this, I started this business quite late. I was 38 when I got my first copy gig,
Hmm.
because I was in construction up to that time. If I had got into copy in my 20s, I would very definitely have gone and worked at an agency for a couple of years just to get
Hmm.
that just number of
Yeah.
reps, just to do a lot of reps.
Yeah. 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 They're very good places to start. I would recommend it. Well, I mean, the ones that I worked at were good. I don't know.
Oh, even a
But
shitty
yeah.
agency can be a great
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Mhm. Well, just even like the first time, just like getting into their CRM and seeing how they track things or whatever. If the only thing you've done is written email copy, then yeah, being able to see like how they actually run things on the back end is going to be very helpful.
In a Google
Uh,
Doc, yeah, it's a forcing
yeah,
function to actually
yeah,
like be able to use more tools.
hmm yeah.
So these days, are you still in California or have you moved to a different part of the US?
No, I'm still in California. Yeah, the weather's been crazy though. We had that line fire like a month ago that came within, I think, a block of our house. So like the end of our street, we have like um, a very tiny like irrigation thing, and then there's a fence, and right next to the fence is where the fire was. So it was like a block from my house probably, um, which is a little spooky. When I was probably 11 or 12, we had our house almost burned down in another fire in California. Our house is like one of two houses on the street that stayed up. So
Wow.
I'm very paranoid about fires. So that one a couple months ago was scary. But yeah, outside of that, the weather's been getting a little bit better. But
And
yeah,
do you find you work all the time now?
I'm on my computer like all the time. I'm not necessarily working on it all the time, but well, not like dedicated work. Like I do I do consider like YouTube or whatever to be part of work because I do pull angles from things pretty regularly that way. But yeah, I just finished up a gig with an agency I'm working on right now, doing some research for a book. Somebody in our community is trying to publish. So I've been hired to
Nice.
do some work for them. I'm working on that right now, and yeah, um, I'll be
And are you going to
seeing
write
how.
the book or are you going to help promote the book?
I'm doing all the deep research on it right now. So right now I'm actually reading books for research for for a book that will be written. Yeah, I'm excited about it, but I'm going very deep on the topic, so it's going to be a lot of reading, but it should be good.
Cool. How did you go about actually like pricing that to do a job like that, where you're going to go and research a book? Because it's kind of hard to know, isn't it? Like how long it's going to
Yeah.
take you, how much can you get, how much should you get paid for a gig like that?
Well, this is for like someone who's been a direct mentor of me. So like the upfront payment on the actual research is low, but when the book sells, I'll get a percentage or whatever, I believe, if we choose to
Okay.
sell it. So I'm not worried about it. This this particular person has not once wronged me in any way in years, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, it was weird. I got into this industry thinking it was going to be all copy, and then I got a few jobs doing research, and I don't know, I didn't consider that a possibility, but it's been fun.
When you say you're doing the research, so what will your work product be? Will it be a research file prepared or that person can then take and use to structure their
So
book, or
I'm
what will
going,
it be?
the deliverable I'm giving him is I have basically a research doc where I'm basically going diagram through like as far back as I can on the topic and then working my way forward and just doing as much research as I can on it. Um, I don't know. As far as being hired for research projects, I'm not really that worried about how long they take per se because I just like research in general. Um, but yeah, it's for like a self-help product moving forward. But yeah,
And what are your goals? Where do you want to go with copywriting? Where do you think you'll be next or in 2 years' time?
I want to start moving towards creating my own offer. I bought automatic clients from Alan like 3 years ago and he released it and then just went the just only focusing on copy route, not creating any offers for myself.
Hmm.
Um, Wrong move. But um, but
I don't
like
know. Sometimes you're not ready to do something like that. I know you
yeah,
can say you're never ready, but when you have some real inspiration, then you'll put in the work to do something. But if the inspiration's not there, it's
yeah.
I've gone at things and tried to make things like that happen in a what's the word? In kind of just this basic functional way that if I do this type of thing, people are buying and they can make money.
Yeah.
And you run out of energy, you run out of
Mhm.
interest very quickly. Whereas
Yeah.
when you find something you're genuinely interested in, you can put in a lot more work and it feels
Hmm.
good.
Hmm. Yeah, I've had a mentor of mine encourage me in that. He thinks that the product that I need to make to release first should be one on like how to do deep research because a lot of people don't know how. So that that would fit that would fit the interest. So right now I've been going through automatic clients. I have a doc. I've given it to some people to look through, and I don't know. I'm working towards releasing that. Um, but yeah, I don't really have any, like you said, like some crazy, like I want to scale to X number goal.
Hmm.
Just want to do work for people that I like for products I know work. Like, I don't know. It sounds cheesy, but I've done enough work for just money where that wasn't the case and it sucks. Like you
Yeah,
don't feel good about it. So,
yeah, you feel
uh,
miserable. It's normal.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, at this point, I want to know the product works and I want to
Hmm.
sell as many products as I know work.
I think
Yeah.
this idea of like how you're going to get paid and all that stuff is really appealing when you come into this industry because usually you like this is a weird little industry where people don't it's mostly unknown. Like most people
Hmm.
don't even know it exists. Like, you know,
Yeah.
the minutiae of the things that go on in internet marketing is something that you won't be aware of unless you go and you find your way into this industry. And people find their way in roundabout ways.
Hmm.
And these days more and more because they bought a biz up, but often through weird
Hmm.
life experiences too,
Yeah.
they get here. And it's like by the time people have decided to come into this industry, it's usually through dissatisfaction with something else they're doing or wanting to
Hmm.
get away from a job or find some way to be independent with it, but maybe they're not ready for starting a company or doing full entrepreneurship yet.
Hmm.
So it's like there's a temperamental way that most people are wired up that come in
Hmm.
here. And
Yeah.
then, but I want to just dig into one thing you said earlier about this idea of, like the very, very, very niche product where it's like the fitness coach that's for somebody who's a nurse that works night shifts.
Hmm.
It's like people think, oh, well, that's just too niche. Nobody will buy that. But it's like, no, that's exactly what somebody will, that's what exactly what a nurse who
Yeah.
works night shifts will buy if they
Yeah.
want.
If it shows up on their feed, how many of those ads are they getting targeted with? Like that one's going to speak to them 'cause no one else
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
But then the argument against that will be, oh, but that's not scalable. And maybe it's not in a by itself, but
Hmm.
it can still create a customer, and that customer may want to buy some other stuff later. That's one part.
Hmm.
And then the other part
Yeah.
was something a client of mine showed me today was they're in SaaS and they showed me one of their clients who they're looking after some aspects at the back end of their business. It's like this client is
Hmm.
like, somebody that's got started by one person maybe 10 plus years ago. And now
Hmm.
they have, what was the numbers he said? They have 700 funnels and over 4,000 landing pages.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, their products are incredibly niched. But like they didn't build that in a day. They built that
Yeah.
it accumulated it over 10 years. But like all of these
Yeah.
funnels are, to a greater or lesser extent automated. And then they have
Hmm.
their front end funnels that they use to spend their
Hmm.
advertising money to bring people into the business. And then once somebody's bought a product, they've got like, you know, different conditional like logic trees sending
Yeah.
customers here and there about what they'll buy next and buy next. But there's like over 700 different products that customer can buy. So you can imagine what the lifetime
Yeah.
value is for that. Even if a customer only buys a fraction of a percent, you know,
Hmm.
doesn't matter. Like they're a good customer. And
Yeah.
but those are all super niche products. It just
Hmm.
took time to add them all on. It's like start with one thing and go
Yeah.
from there.
Hmm. Yeah. Especially because they can build like, I mean, if they do it correctly, you can build like you pointed to, they can build a full ecosystem around that personality if you just like take the time to dig into it. Like they can, there's more than one product you could sell to that person.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know, I really think that it helps be creative when you have to come up with something. Like I don't know, when I was writing for that specific offer, it was easier for me to come up with angles than it was for something that was more broad because I have to make sure that I don't piss off way more people
Hmm.
as opposed to writing to one small group. So yeah, I don't know. I'm happy for the very niche down things. I think I'm going to be writing and seeing a lot of ads for groups and things that I wouldn't have thought of before, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can go then to nurses who work day shifts who want to get fit, and then you can go to
Yeah,
doctors who work night shifts. Like,
yeah,
there's lots of different ways that you can find. You can always find somebody adjacent to your customer, to the left or the right,
yeah, yeah.
or in front or behind. Um,
Hmm.
Writing for really broad stuff is like the hardest skill, I think, in
Hmm.
copywriting. And you think, oh, that should be easy because it's the simplest stuff because it's just stuff everybody wants. But it's like
Yeah.
not that. I know I have a friend who's really good at writing super broad offers, and I won't say the niche they work in, but like their stuff is so generic.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
subject matter is so generic that
Yeah.
literally anybody could buy it. Like their
Hmm.
customers are all over the board, like ages, races, place they live, what they do,
Yep.
rich, poor, whatever, completely all over the
Hmm.
map. Like they do not have a customer avatar.
Hmm.
But like that's a very, very, very rare skill.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Especially if it connects. Because when I was writing like for Jay in the beginning, it would be hard to like that offer could have been for anyone. Like it easily could have been for Ty Lopez. Like if you just slapped his name on the bottom, like and just worded things a little differently. Like um yeah, there is value to the broad. It's just not as fun to me.
Yeah,
But
of
yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely you definitely need to know it. People definitely need to know how to write to a broad audience, or I think your chances of connecting with a smaller one are not good. Um,
Do you remember when or what point on your journey where you realized it was going to be okay?
I think it was probably the first time I got paid 5 grand. Like up until that time, I don't think I had made like my machine shop job was like a little under 3 grand a month, I want to think. And so the first time I got five, it was like I didn't believe in my writing ability all that much at that. I knew that I could write, but I didn't know that I could create results for the people who were paying me that amount of money a few years ago.
Hmm.
Um, but that was the first time where I was like, maybe there's a chance that I could be good at this. Um, but I don't know. It honestly took like 2 years of constant writing for that to go away. And for the longest time, it was like, I can't write. I can't write. Like, if I stop for one day, it's going to go away. And then after just a couple years of writing, just one day it was gone. And now I'm like, I can write. It doesn't matter if I wrote yesterday or the day before, like, I can write now. Like, I don't know. But it took so long for that belief to get there. If I didn't see copywriting as like my only way out of that job, I don't think I would have done it. Like, I wouldn't have been able to stick around with it. But I felt
Why
like I
did
had
you?
enough of an ability to write where I was like, maybe this could work. Um,
So it was a mixture of a push and a pull factor. You felt like I need to get out of here, and this is my only chance.
yeah, it was basically that, and then the mix of like in high school through college, I was always like highest grade in the class for final project writing, like whatever it was writing wise, I was always like top two or three in the class with minimal effort. So I was like, and I liked writing. So I don't know. I got a Jason Capital ad one day in my dorm when he was like sitting in a jacuzzi with like a unicorn floaty. And
I think I've seen that ad.
I don't know. I got sold on the dream and I've been writing since. Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I like it. I'm happy I pursued it because I really don't know, like outside of writing, I don't really know what else I would be doing. Like honestly. Um, yeah.
It's quite easy to get complacent, like wake up every day. Sometimes I wake up at like 4 a.m. Other times I wake up at 9:30 a.m. But like it
Mhm.
doesn't actually matter. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like everything I do is on my own
Yeah.
schedule. And
Yeah.
like the downsides to that are with no external, without that much external structure in your life, it's like it's very easy to go like this. But
Yeah.
like once you can keep yourself occupied and do something every day, you have
Hmm.
almost unlimited freedom,
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Like
which
the
very few people do.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. The first year where I was making probably like between 8 and 10 grand a month for the year, that was like the first time in my life where I was like never worried about like paying for anything because it's not like I was spending like a lot before, but it was the first time where it was like I could just buy groceries. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about rent. Like that was weird. And I was like, if I wake up at a different time, like you said, tomorrow, it's like this doesn't change. Like as long as I keep the deliverables. So that was weird. I think it kind of broke me mentally though. I don't know how good of an employee I would be at a normal 9 to 5 anymore. Now knowing like how time free copywriting is. Like yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Once you've tasted freedom, you don't want to put yourself back in the jail
yeah,
cell,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it's not like I even particularly hated working machines. It's just I don't want to be there. Like it, yeah. It's not like the job was bad. I just don't want to. Yeah.
And I work construction. I've worked 7 to 7 Monday to Friday, and I'd work 7 to 2 most Saturdays. Like my work ethic was like fucking impeccable. Like I was
Yeah.
always early, always stayed late, and
Hmm.
like I got like doing the stuff. I still like to work. I really enjoy work, but it's like that external pressure of like, there's a project, there's a job site needs to go in the morning, there's a crew needs to be on site by 7:30. You're the guy who's got the
Hmm.
truck, you've the guy who's got the keys to open up the storage
Yeah.
unit with all the tools. It's like those little external push factors are fantastic for like
Mhm.
helping you like lead a disciplined life.
Yeah. Hmm.
And when it's all just you on your own and you have to pull it out of thin air, it,
Hmm.
it's a big shift. Some people are
Yeah.
great, they can thrive that way, but I think most people are, yeah, quite what's the word? Not indoctrinated, institutionalized
Hmm.
by like, you know, childhood, school, college, all
Hmm.
that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd never like until after college, like I was my entire life like the teacher's pet, like I don't know, like not even trying to be, just I don't know, I was. And then it was like after college, the first time where I started thinking for real, like maybe all these people were not right about how they view the world, like this whole time. Like maybe there's another possibility, but for until I was like 25, that was just not. I didn't think that making any money online was actually realistic. It's like that's for people on Instagram. That's like I don't know anybody who does that. Like, but yeah, that's I, I, after college. Just opening up to that different worldview is a lot more optimistic. Like there's a lot of jobs you can have online, not just in marketing, but there's a lot of things out there that just you're never going to find in like the indoctrinated like institutions, like you said.
With people who know you, like friends, family, or whatever, do they like understand what you do now? Do they question it? Do they ask you about it? Like, or do you find that you
Um,
have less connection with people in the kind of who maybe are still living in that like 9 to 5 lifestyle?
um, I would say I'm probably less connected, but I think that's just like um, just life factors. Um, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Oh, just about like people like friends, family, etc., who you would
Oh,
have known
yeah.
beforehand.
I-
And do you
Yeah.
find that like things are different now because of you live a different way? Your lifestyle is very different.
I think they understand more that like it's a job that can pay. Like before, even if it worked, I think a lot of people, even if they understood copywriting, were like, yeah, but like where do you work with this? Like I've never heard of this job. Like where is it? But in the past couple of years, I have a friend who's actually a pretty famous influencer now. So he works with like marketing agencies and things. So he understands a little more where I'm coming from at this point. Um, I think that most other people in my life, they just view it as like I'm writing and I'm getting paid for it, but I don't think they understand really what it is. Outside of maybe they might see an ad on Facebook and that might be me or somebody like me. Um, but yeah.
And how do you feel about like, well, I'll preface the question with sort of a bit of context. I feel very different about the world now
Hmm.
than I did when I worked for other people. Um, where I've come to a point now where like whatever happens in my life is 100% on me. Like I cannot be anything less than 100% accountable for what's going on in my life because like
Hmm.
whatever I do, whatever I have, it's whatever I get up and pull out of my ass basically every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas when you are in school and or you have a job, like again, there's that like machinery, that structure around you that pushes you in directions, and for good and
Mhm.
bad, from there's both
Yeah.
aspects to it. But when you have that machinery around you, it's easy to kind of not be responsible for your own outcomes, or not take accountability. You can just say, oh, it's because of this factor, or it's because of that
Mhm.
factor. When you strip all that
Yeah.
away and there's nothing but yourself, it's like, okay, it's basically it's what did I do today to move the ball forward? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, have you found that that's changed you as a person, your like your values, your political outlook or temperament or any of that stuff?
Yeah, I think before I definitely questioned everything before, but I think now I think a lot more about like what people have on the table, like what the conditions are that are causing them to think a certain way or say a certain thing has been helpful. So instead of just taking what they say at face value, it's like trying to find out like are other things going on in this person's life, are there other things affecting it? Like they're like I think it's taught me in some ways to have a lot more empathy than I used to have, just because I'm having to research like problems that people have in their life that maybe are not things that I've thought about or related to in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think I'm a lot more able to see on that level than I was before. I think before I was just going on what people say and not how things were actually like what was causing people to say those things or act a certain way. And for myself, when I got into copywriting, my only goal was just to make money. It's like I just don't have I didn't have money, and that was the only goal. And now it's like I I want to build a business that I'm happy with, that I actually enjoy doing, and actually like fulfills on the service that it says it's going to. Um, and I want to make sure that it's actually helping. If it's just kicking the problem down the road for them, even if it's helpful for a little bit for them, I don't know. I want to make sure that I'm helping at the deepest like level that I can, or talking to that when writing. And that's something I didn't have before. It was just imitating whatever other people said, but it didn't like connect to like what part in their lives they could be at. Just things that are in like NHB, like thinking about the age people are at and different things. Um, it's definitely opened up my mind a lot. I'm definitely I listen to way more different viewpoints than I did in the past.
Do you remember a particular instance or like a first example of when that actually happened, where you had that moment of like empathy for something or someone you'd never thought about before?
I think one of the first times that it clicked for me is when I was writing for supplements like for elderly people. And I can't remember what the specific supplement was, but it was for um, like specifically like targeted lower back pain. And I turned 30 this month. That's not really been an issue in my life, back pain, but I know that it's common enough. But a couple of years ago, you'd seen on my wall, I had a stint where I was drinking like really heavily, and um, not anymore. But when I was drinking really heavily, I would feel like every morning when I woke up, it's like an intense pain, like in the bottom of my spine is what it would feel. And while it wasn't a good in place for me personally at that time to like be causing that pain on myself, I think when I was able to write for older people who had pain in their back, like I was a lot more, I don't like empathetic. I know where it's coming from. Like on some level, I know what lower back pain, not the same chronic that they have, but I don't know, being able to relate to the physical pain of others helps me tap into my writing ability more. It's like where Alan says you have to get to a point of feeling. Um, a lot of times where I do my best work now, What I do is I like to watch like there's a few scenes in movies that I know like get me choked up, and I'll like intentionally watch those sometimes, like if I'm trying to write to be more empathetic, so that I'm like emotionally charged, like going into the writing, and that's been like really helpful. Like
That's
instead of
cool.
trying to like come up with words to create the feeling, like try to be in the feeling and then just say the words, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's nice. It's like method acting, sounds like
Yeah,
almost.
it's like becoming the vessel is like that. Yeah, that's how I think about it, honestly, is like if I was acting as this person for the next 40 minutes, like as best as I could, what would that look like? Um, and yeah, just that little change in thinking has helped, I think, a lot with my writing just to connect. Like trying to get emotionally in the same place before you say any word is going to do the most help. Yeah.
Nice. Like, where can people meet you or find you online if they want to connect with you?
On my Facebook, it's just like McNamara on Facebook. I haven't really been active on any other social media. I want to get a YouTube going. I've seen other people doing it and I'm on YouTube all the time. So, but right now, just Facebook.
Tube is
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
Twitter. I don't know. Well, organic reach for marketing, Instagram
Mhm.
is like I know I need to put more energy there. Find it hard to. I don't enjoy the platform, but Twitter,
On
I love
Twitter
Twitter.
or, oh,
No,
yeah. Yeah.
Instagram. I don't really enjoy using
Oh,
Instagram
yeah.
because it's very image driven and like
Hmm.
I'm just you know I'm like
Yeah.
shorts and t-shirt pretty much every day, so I don't feel like
Yeah.
I don't feel like my aesthetics are Instagram level, you
Yeah.
know. I don't
That's why
feel
I
very
like
Instagrammable.
that's why I like I'm sure you're aware of Sam Sulek.
Yeah,
Like the lifter. That's why
he's
I think
great.
that's why his brand took off is like it's just him in front of a camera and sweats. Like he's not trying to be anything he isn't, and it connects with people. So
Yeah, he's done
that's
amazingly good on YouTube with the long form stuff. But
yeah,
Twitter I love because Twitter is like can be as little as much as you want it to be, and
yeah,
just especially this year. I mean, like Twitter is like very vitriolic and hateful,
oh
and
yeah,
oftentimes
yeah,
it's like kind of a bit of a downer, like because it's so much it can be a lot of what the
yeah,
worst of humanity. But then
yep,
the fact is like it's a lot of the truth. It's very truthful.
yeah.
Like the
Hmm.
community
I like the
notes.
community notes. Yeah,
Community notes
so great.
just changed it. I mean, it's uncomfortable for people, I
Hmm.
guess, a lot, but community notes is just like such a great leveler. It's so
Hmm.
good, and
Yeah,
it's like I was having this. Been having this conversation with Dad for a couple of years. I'm like, just can't watch TV news anymore. Like they were always lying
yeah,
to you.
yeah,
They're still lying to you, and the
hmm,
lies are getting worse every passing year. They're more desperate, the
yeah,
lies.
yeah,
And like he doesn't, he's not. He doesn't want to hear that message, and I can understand why. There's a generational gap there where it's like,
hmm,
and you're telling me that a lot of my life is a lie, and I guess in a way that's how that message is received. But I think
yeah,
things have changed. It's like the,
hmm,
the the TV news you grew up with, where it was relatively sober and serious people, like genuine professionals, who were like you know
yeah,
who made mistakes and definitely had some conflicts of interest, but were for the most part, I think, well
hmm,
intentioned and trying to do a professional job and had a genuine vocation. Like that's fucking
hmm,
long gone. That's just
yeah,
long gone.
yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think they said that most people get their news, it's from Twitter and YouTube. I mean, I think that's where most people get it. I mean, there's some on TikTok, but I think the news channels on YouTube and on Twitter are easily the biggest. Like as far as daily viewers. Yeah.
Just particularly into the like post Musk acquisition, it's like
Hmm.
how radically truthful it is,
Yeah.
and like in ways which are wonderful, and in ways that are really horrible because it shows you a side of
Yeah.
humanity it's probably better
Yeah.
not to see too much of.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen stuff on Twitter where, yeah, I'm like, I could have done without seeing that for the rest of my life. But yeah.
Got done with that.
Yeah.
But it's like it's good. It's like it's an antidote to like the excesses of the other. I'm like, you should get
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
But my old man is just like, nah, don't like it. I'm like, okay.
I like it. I just get too roped into the memes, and then like I get roped into the trolling, and then I'm like, I'm not using this account for work anymore. I should delete it. Like,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I definitely my trolley instincts. I mean, I for purposely, I had an anon account on Twitter for a while, and I was like, no, this just brings out like the nastiest side of my head. I have to
yeah,
I have to be accountable for my words on Twitter. So
yeah,
my real name,
yeah,
my real face. I was like,
yeah.
if I'm an anon, it's just gonna take me to a bad place. I can't be an anon. Have to be me.
It is something I do try to imitate it a little bit on. I've been saying for a while. I think people need to get more involved in YouTube comments. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds crazy, and there's all those jokes about nobody knows anybody who's ever commented on Facebook or on YouTube, but
Yeah.
like for real, like if you want to test angles or things that work, people will respond to you like it's Twitter in a lot of cases,
Oh,
in the
really?
comments, and you can get like you can test your angle now. Like find something big, find someone big in your niche, and just like test an angle in their comments. I mean, it's not that crazy, but I think I think that's the most helpful thing that I've had for like getting angles that work is just like manually being the person like causing the interaction online and seeing like which way it goes has been easier than like trying to search for a specific thing in Reddit. Like it's easier to just write something and get replies.
Well, I know one thing that it, I've heard multiple times recently, and when you like write the same note down two, three times, you're like, oh, I really must start paying attention. The note I've written to myself at least three times in the past 2 months, which is like that YouTube titles are like an incredible filtering function for what people respond to.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because like yeah, okay, thumbnails matter too, but like if you're using YouTube on your, I mean,
Hmm.
on your phone as well, but especially on desktop when you're scrolling that sidebar, like looking at what am I going to watch
Hmm.
next? Am I going to continue
Yeah.
to watch the video? Or I'm going to watch something else. Like a
Yeah.
good title will just stop you dead in your tracks.
Hmm. Yeah. Especially how they like how they bold words on YouTube is different than how we would in like normal headlines. Like there's a lot of YouTubers that I'll see where they'll bold like a letter in a, or a word in a sentence from like I would never have bolded that as your headline and it's got 300,000 views in a day or something crazy. So like even the like even the caps are different. I mean how they're written on YouTube um, instead of like just the titles being phrased differently.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I think
those caps are great.
what's interesting as well with YouTube is like it's like that the influence persuasion thing we were talking about earlier. It's like it has
Hmm.
both. Like it has
Yeah.
people who get a lot of views because of influence. But like then
Hmm.
even if you like go to that channel of somebody who's very influential, like anyone who's got a big name, but you can
Hmm.
still go and stack rank all their videos by popularity. And once you stack rank those
Yep.
videos and you look at all the titles, it's like, oh shit, like you've got
Hmm.
a nice kind of control group of like this person.
Hmm.
I know this over time they tend to become more popular, but like you
Hmm.
can look at their like top 10 or top 20 most popular videos stacked by
Hmm.
popularity, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
there'll be one idea that's like head and shoulders like that, like the whole like Pareto distribution. Like there'll be one thing
Hmm.
head and shoulders
Yeah.
above everything else where they just absolutely nailed it.
Hmm. Have you ever taken have you ever taken like the transcripts of YouTube videos and used those as titles? Like you can click like on the YouTube video, you can click like transcript and like copy and
Hmm.
paste that. And then like throw it in Chat GPT with whatever title you have and just like tell it like create as many things as you can out of what was in this video based on X or whatever. I don't know. Using the transcripts has been helpful too, because if you click on it, it tells like you could see where people are breathing and things. Like you could see the pauses, which is helpful for um, like the speed at which they're reading or whatever. Like it helps you pick up the speaking cadence of the person you're watching. Like if you click on transcript, it'll show you like where the pauses
It,
are and everything.
it
It's
sounds like
crazy.
you're much deeper down the rabbit hole than you do.
Well, it's just to learn to mirror. Like yeah. But yeah, like you could if you click transcript, you could see like what it looks like what their average sentence looks like and things. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
realize. The pauses. Okay, those are the gaps where they put the next time
Yeah,
slot in.
yeah, yeah. Like if you
Ah, now I
click transcript,
understand.
it'll show you. Yeah, like you could just look at it and see like this is how they write. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Because I do download YouTube transcripts a lot for like ideation and for doing research and stuff.
Mhm.
I've started to use Google Notebook LLM lately quite a bit.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
really
handy.
cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's native to the YouTube ecosystem and just pull a transcript for you. It's great for researching. It's a
Have you
really
made
powerful
podcasts
tool.
on it yet?
Hmm?
Have you made podcasts on it yet? Because that's a function in Notebook.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about this. I've heard a couple of samples. I haven't tried to, mainly because just aesthetically, I hate it. I just think it's
Yeah,
disgusting. Um,
yeah, yeah.
like my favorite podcast is, do you know Founders by David Senra?
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
He's really good. It's a very simple concept. He reads biographies of famous entrepreneurs and he makes
Hmm.
podcasts, solo podcasts about his impressions of the book.
That's
So
cool.
at this point, like I don't know how many he's done. He's done maybe he's somewhere like 300s or 400s. And he reads the book sometimes three, four times. He sometimes does an episode where he returns to the same book 2 years later, reads it again. What do I think about it now that I missed last time? Very
Mm-hmm.
simple concept. He'll read some excerpts from the book. He'll read some of his notes about like his research around reading that book because he does research while reading the book based on stuff that's in the book.
Hmm.
It's really good. But like he's quite a monotonous reader. He's got quite
Yeah.
like not the most like charismatic of voices,
Hmm.
but it's him. And it's like one of the things like it's a real grower. I listened to
Hmm.
a few episodes. Oh, this fucking sucks. This guy's so boring.
Yeah.
And then I stopped, and then I don't remember. I think I was maybe I cannot remember now who it was, but I was listening to somebody else who was saying this is a really great podcast, and it was
Hmm.
somebody whose opinion I respected. And I was like, I should go give that guy another chance and listen to his stuff again. Because whoever this,
Hmm.
I can't, I wish could remember what I can. It was somebody whose opinion I really respected. I was like, okay, I'll go give this another listen. I went back. It's like, yeah, this is really freaking good.
Yeah.
And and now I listen to him pretty regularly. But like the thought that he would just like do a Google Notebook LM and uploaded that and then just have the machine read the podcast for him. I was like, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no. I mean,
No, I meant just for like research. I'll do it like if I have like I'm trying to learn a new niche or something, I'll get like a transcript of a lot of their videos and throw it into the podcast because it'll jump through the topics. So instead of like listening through all the videos, it'll just like condense it into one podcast I can listen to.
hmm
But yeah, it can sound weird, that's for sure.
yeah, it's not even how it sounds. It's just this idea of like more and more AI slop, out on the
Yeah.
internet. And it's like, it's going to become recursive. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably already becoming recursive where like
Mhm.
AI is relying on AI generated content for the content it's producing. And like with it being several orders of magnitude more productive than humans are, it's not going
Yeah.
to take long before the volume of AI content out there like radically exceeds the volume of human generated content. And
Yeah.
at that point, like, how does it learn? Or
Yeah.
how does it learn? Maybe it creates its own filtering functions for like improving the quality of its information. But like, how does it not become the copy of a copy of a copy? I guess we're yet to get
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
But like the aesthetics of AI is like, some people love it and they're like so bullish, like this is amazing. But then you look at like AI generated Facebook and YouTube comments and they fucking suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if they were, but then there's the other aesthetic judgment on it where it's like, even if those AI generated Facebook comments were amazing, it
Hmm.
still wouldn't tell me anything about the person, like the profile
Yeah.
pic and the person who wrote it. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to engage with it. People want people. We want to
Yeah.
engage with other people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is definitely going towards that like uncanny valley thing. Like especially if it starts spitting like I have a brother who's a programmer and that's one of the things that he had brought up about OpenAI to me like originally was that anybody who uses it is training the machine, in which case, if the people are dumb, then you're training the machine to be dumb. And like, especially with it being open source, he's like, every time that someone adds to it, like it goes into the data bank and it's not rating if it's real or not, it just is banked.
Hmm.
Um, in which case, then yeah, it could be an echo chamber of tons of just things that are fake and not real or uncanny or off-putting or yeah.
Yeah, I I actually like can see that like going in a weird way. I don't mind it. I like that's where like most of the people who are very critical of AI go. That doesn't really bother me so much because the world is so full of inaccuracies and it's a reflection of us.
Mhm.
Because like,
Yeah.
how badly do we misremember stories? How much do we exaggerate, like flat out lie?
Mhm.
We all do these things from
Yeah.
time to time. We all have faulty memories. But I just think it's the aesthetic part of where it's aping aping a real human connection.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like the difference between. Probably I don't want to go there. I don't want to go into the territory of human relationships because I think that would be
Yeah.
tacky. But I just yeah, it needs to. It's great for what it is, but I don't like when it gets into the territory of pretending to be really helping a human make a real emotional
Yeah.
connection. I think it's very
Yeah.
dangerous and damaging and ugly.
Mhm. Well, probably for the person using it also. Like if you're using AI to mandate all your relationships, like how many of them are real? And like once you realize that they're not real, what is that going to feel like? Trying to
Mm,
rebuild them when they're still ongoing with AI.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, I don't, yeah,
very, very dangerous for people who consider themselves to be introverted. I
yeah,
think it
hmm
is we need to talk to each other more.
yeah,
That's why we're doing
yeah,
this.
yeah, definitely. I'd seen Matthew had the people inside of the dojo like hopping on calls and talking to people when I had started doing it, and it was great. Like for the longest time, it's just a stupid introvert belief where it's like I just want to be alone with the camera off, and it's like I don't know. Every time I've gotten on a call, no matter how I felt about it before, the second I'm on it, I'm happy about it. Like yeah,
Yep.
we definitely
Okay.
need the human connection.
I think that's a
Yeah,
nice place to leave it for tonight.
sure. Yeah. Thank you for your time, John.
Cheers, Mike. I'm going to stop the recording now.